Well, joining us now on This Is the Day is Jim Caviezel, who plays the main character Tim Ballard in The Sound of Freedom, and Eduardo Verastegui, who is the producer of The Sound of Freedom, also stars in the movie as well. And the movie is based on the true story of Ballard, who is a former government agent turned freedom fighter who rescues dozens of children from human trafficking. Thank you so much for being with us, Jim and Eduardo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe if we could start with you, Eduardo, how did you find out about Tim Ballard's work, and maybe what made you decide to produce this movie?
I was in Los Angeles, California 8 years ago. That's where I met Tim Ballard and his friends and his team. And when I learned what they were doing, traveling around the world, traveling around the world undercover, rescuing children that were kidnapped for sexual exploitation, I was in shock. I was like, I couldn't sleep for days, and Tim saw my face and he told me, Eduardo, yes, it's very sad what I'm telling you, but it's more sad now that you know it if you do nothing. And that's where, I picture, what if this is my son? What if my son is kidnapped? What would I do? I will stop everything that I'm doing. I will hope the whole world will stop everything they're doing so they can help me to find my child. Well, that's my motivation. I'm gonna work on this thinking like what I'm saving is my child, because God's children are not for sale, and every child, you have to treat that little precious creation of God as your little brother and your little sister. One day we'll have to answer to God, what have you done with the talents that He gave you? How much do you love and how much you protect children? And that's my motivation till today. It's been 8 years of work for 2 hours of your time, which is what the movie lasts. And I want to just talk about Jim for a second. Before I knew Tim Ballard wanted Jim to play him, I was thinking about, other actors who were, same age of Tim Ballard, looks like him and everything.
Yeah.
And every actor passed when they find out that this movie was about child trafficking. And a few agents told, they called me one. They said, well, you're not going to find someone that's going to be playing a role like this. This is a true story. This is a very delicate topic. And, there is a lot of people involved in this crime. And I can't say anything other than you're going to have a big problem finding the actor. Good luck. And he was right. Everyone. And I thought first was going to be like money. And we put like a couple offers out there, we put a lot of money just to see if that was the case. And no, it has nothing to do with money. They were saying, no. And I didn't tell Tim this until one day I said, Tim, who do you want to play you? And he said, Jim Caviezel. And I never thought about Jim because, again, I was looking for someone at his age. And then I said, yes, but Jim is a little older than you and he doesn't look like you. And it doesn't matter, Eduardo. It's not about, if he looks like me or not. It's about, he's a man of God. It's about looking for an ambassador of freedom who will be willing to give his life for this. And I know he has a heart. Okay, well, yeah. I'll send him a text. I did that, and I met with him, and literally 20 minutes after the meeting, he said, Eduardo, I'm willing to give my life for this. Let's become one, in this mission. And he's been doing that since day one, since the day that he said yes. Till today, he's nothing but a warrior, nothing but a true ambassador of freedom, and he's a true hero to me. And not only that, he's an amazing actor. Yes. He's like a crazy Picasso, Dali, Michelangelo of our times, and he's just he's like Alejandro. They're genius, but the best part, they both don't know it, so they can keep calm. So don't listen to this, Jim, please.
Jim, if you could talk about playing this character, Jim, and I understand you had some training too to get a feel for what Tim does. What was that like, and maybe what was your approach to the role?
Well, yes, we do training. We go over to work with Tim and his teams. We do the CQC, close quarter combat training. I walked in the room and watched him. I didn't get to see him interrogate, but I got to see him plan a mission with some of the top guys in Latin America. And then I start taking notes and just anything that are different from, I've always worked on other films where I work with homicide or, ATF or FBI, CIA, whatever. So I'm always, and you build a level of trust up with these guys over years. And so over time, you start remembering things that you worked on. And so sometimes you go back to meet with these guys and say, if we can take it to that next level. Oh, I want to make it the best. If it's trafficking, I can't make it. That's a part of it, and we point to it, and there's horrors of trafficking children. But I want people, when they watch this, to go, this is an amazing film. Yeah. It's a thrill ride. It's adventure, those things. But at the same time, it's a weapon to help people to understand how routinely trafficking occurs, to protect their own children, to see the warning signs so that they're weaponized. That's ultimately what I'm thinking about in making this. And it's always through the prayer that where God starts to guide me.
Maybe if you could expand, Jim, too, about, you've seen this, you've worked with Tim, and I wanted to get your take on dealing with people that are involved in such evil, how Tim processes that, and how do you feel, trying to convey that too?
My link into him was through David, the apostle. I saw something there with David and the Philistine, and talking horrific things about our Lord, and he wasn't willing to live any longer on this earth. It was okay to be dead than to allow what this Philistine is saying about his father. And that was how I felt when God came to me and asked me to become one of his apostles, to go and become an actor, and that gave me my purpose, and that he loved me that much. Well, I wanted to love him. And I don't think we love God enough. I think that God, yes, he loves us and all that, I got that, but we need to start loving him. And we need to do it by protecting his commandments, protecting our children, and not just through trafficking, but also being groomed. I mean, who else do you go to? Yeah. To have these people that the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence that are absolutely making an abomination out of our faith, and to light a fire to the priests, to everyone else. And you don't do it by telling, you do it by leading. Yeah. And Tim Ballard has that quality, doesn't lead from behind. So I said, how are we at the same with Eduardo? And so now you got 3 warriors, and then you bring in Alejandro. We have an amazing, talented team. Yeah. And so now you have prayer, you have fasting. You don't go into the devil's lair without having your heart on fire. And so when you do, you are unafraid. And that's the big secret of this film. When you go into it, like The Passion, your heart gets on fire. And what happens? You're not afraid of evil any longer. Yeah. And that's why they don't want you to see this film.
And I know Angel picked it up, and maybe if you could, we're just about out of time, but tell us a little bit about how, I know they have some special crowdfunding thing they're doing as well, and ways to get people to get to see this movie.
We're selling 2 million tickets for 2 million children that are in slavery right now. Oh. We are selling out, but here's the problem. We don't have enough theaters, and we need your help to call in to, where do they call into, Eduardo?
Well, they can go to the Angel app, and in the Angel app, they can follow the guidance, and they can buy tickets for themselves or tickets for other people that they cannot afford to buy a ticket. And that's the only way how we're going to achieve that goal, which is 2 million tickets. We're right there, but we need more. Only if we become one, as you mentioned, little David against Goliath. Disney is Goliath. Mm-hmm. We're the little David. Disney is trying to corrupt your children. Little David, Son of Freedom, is trying to save your children. So how do we want to end the story? I hope the same way how David ended Goliath, if we come with your help.
Well, thank you, Eduardo. Jim, thank you so much, and thank you for doing this movie as well. We appreciate the time, and please, out there, viewers, check out this movie if you can. Thank you.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. We're going to send it back now to the rest of This Is the Day.